Okay, we are live.
Thank you. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to part one of our three-part association journey presentations. I'm Anushka Ritchie, President of the World Federation of Tourist Guide Associations, and we proudly welcome you to today's viewing of the presentations. And once again, we are so happy to have our associations come and join us and present their journeys. In 2020, we were absolutely in awe with some of the presentations we saw and some of the activities that our association members were doing and the flexibility that they showed. And in 2021, we've seen some of these objectives taken to the next level, and we've seen how our association members have done things that have really brought them to the next level of recuperating the losses and coming up with new innovative ideas. So let's hear from our association members today as we start these journeys. And with that, I would like to hand over to two of our fantastic area representatives. We have James and Erwin joining us today, and they will be facilitating the session and introducing our members who will be presenting today. So James and Erwin, thank you so much for taking the time to facilitate today's presentations, and I hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Alushka. It's lovely to see you again. It's lovely to see people from all over the world. And it's nice to hold court with Tsunami here. We'll try and make sure everything runs nice and smoothly.
Mabuhay from the Philippines. My name is Erwin, but you can call me Tsunami. And with me is James, complete 180 degrees away from where I am now. So we'll be having 5 facilitators for tonight. And with James, we hope that everything will run smoothly. James?
So I'm based in Toronto, and I think we're a couple of minutes early, but we are going to do all this is going to be on YouTube that you can watch later. All this is being streamed on Facebook. All this will be also linked into our website, so you can enjoy this again at a later time. So there are many ways to enjoy this at your leisure. I am a facilitator, so as a facilitator, myself and Irving are taking turns in introducing people and handing over, and we've kind of done it a little bit by area. So I'd like to take a moment to introduce Michael from New York, from GANAC, and a great organization, and I also wear a hat in Toronto. We've got a lot of links with New York, and we're trying to build up more. It's a very dynamic organization down there, and we try to emulate them in many ways. So big welcome to Michael, and we're going to hand over to you in your presentation. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, James. Thank you for the kind words. And yeah, it's we look forward to building a relationship with the Toronto tourist guides and any tour guide associations around the world. We're certainly open, and I hope from meeting us at various WFTGA events, both in person and virtual, you all know that GANAC, the Guides Association of New York City, we're always very willing to share information, give advice, take advice, ask for advice. So please reach out to us with any sort of comments and questions or suggestions, because we certainly are always learning, as I'm sure all of you are as well. With that said, I am going to share my presentation now. So if somebody could just let me know if you're seeing this okay on the screen. Can you guys, James, can you see this on screen okay?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Okay, so again, thank you to Alushka and the WFTGA board for inviting us to be able to make this presentation. As James said, I am Michael Morgenthau. I'm one of 2 vice presidents of the Guides Association of New York City, and there's my email address for the association business. So if you have any questions, you can shoot me an email directly at industryrelations@ganac.org. So we accomplished a lot in 2021, but we're really going to focus on 3 things for our presentation today. Number 1, we're going to talk about our Apple Awards, which we transitioned to become a virtual event this past year. We're going to talk about Guide Week 2021, which was our brand new virtual conference and job fair in May of this past year. And we're going to talk about an ongoing initiative where we're fighting to get tour guides back on double-decker buses. So we could focus on a lot of things our association has worked on over the past year, but that's what we're going to focus on today. So first of all, the Gannick Apple Awards. This year they took place on February 22nd, 2021. They had previously been in early March, but we decided to move them back a couple of weeks now to coincide with International Tourist Guide Day. This was the 7th annual award ceremony that we hosted. The awards honor people and organizations that are involved in tourism and culture and preservation, amongst many other things here in New York City. And of course, with the outbreak of COVID, it was decided that we would shift this event virtual for 2021. Because of that, we were able to have close to 300 people tune in from around the world, which was really great. It also helped make securing presenters for our program easier. When it's an in-person event on one specific night, everybody has to be available. But for the purposes of this event, we were able to pre-record a lot of segments. So we had a pretty prestigious roster of presenters. So we've decided that for 2022, our awards are going to be virtual again, still with the uncertainty of what's going on with COVID. So I will have you all save the date, Monday, February 21st, actually on International Tourist Guide Day. It's always on a Monday. So this year it actually syncs up directly with International Tourist Guide Day, which is great, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and stay tuned for more information. And with that, I do want to share a quick clip from our host, an award-winning television news anchor here in New York City. His name is Bill Ritter. He's an institution, and he was our host. Again, we were only able to get him because of the virtual aspect of this. I just want to share this clip for about a minute because it speaks to the journey that all of us have been on since the start of COVID.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 7th annual Apple Award ceremony presented by the Guides Association of New York City. You know, there's something encouraging about the lucky number 7 for this year's awards. It speaks to the survival, the pause, the pivot, the perseverance of this town and this industry, both of which were hit last year like never before, but have come back swinging. You know, many guides have put their talents.
Oh, whoops, sorry. Pressed the wrong button, my apologies.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 7th annual Apple Award ceremony presented by the Guides Association of New York City. You know, there's something encouraging about the lucky number 7 for this year's awards. It speaks to the survival, the pause, the pivot, the perseverance of this town and this industry, both of which were hit last year like never before, but have come back swinging. You know, many guides have put their talents to use in other temporary jobs. Well, some have used the time to improve their scholarship, and still others discovering the market for virtual tours and brought their knowledge and love of the city to audiences in quarantine. One of the many mantras guides have shared is, if you can't be flexible in the tourism trade, you're in the wrong trade.
Okay, so I think that's a sentiment that we could all agree on, and we were honored to have Bill be our host last year, and we're just in the process of starting our planning for this coming year's event. Now, the second thing I wanted to mention was Guide Week 2021. So a little bit of background. Gannick, we are the local association here in New York City. We've hosted a job fair and talent expo since 2017. We modeled it off our colleagues at the Washington, D.C. Guild. But obviously the 2020 job fair was canceled due to COVID. So we were thinking about having a virtual job fair for 2021. And of course, if small is good, big is better. So it kind of morphed into this week-long event that took place from May 10th to the 14th, 2021, which had educational components, virtual tours, and of course, the job fair and talent expo. And it was successful beyond our wildest imaginations, in large part due to New York's version of Sebastian, a guy by the name of Mitch Bach. Some of you might know him. He is a tech wizard and also an innovator in the guiding field, and he was a driving force behind all of this. So just wanted to share with you what Guide Week was made up of. We had 12 amazing educational sessions, and they were basically designed to get tour guides ready for the return of tourism after the COVID outbreak. So you can see everything from what's going on with virtual tours to large groups, how to price your tours correctly, developing your personal brand, creating passive income streams, guiding as a force for change. And the sessions were really robust and the discussions were absolutely terrific. Then we also offered virtual tours from around the world. We had a sponsor, Travel Curious, the tour operator. Every morning, or for 2 mornings, they offered us one a walking tour of Lima, virtual tour of Lima, another virtual tour of Moscow. We had a couple of local tours provided by our local GANIC member guides. And then we had a few other tours that were offered via the Hey Go platform, which included tours of Spain, tours in India, Mexico, and US national parks. And I'm sure I'm leaving out a few, but these proved to be very popular, kind of in lieu of having a typical social hour, happy hour or drinks or dinner after a in-person convention. This was our idea to help get the networking going. And then, of course, what started this all was a recruitment day, a job fair. And we were lucky enough to attract 56 different companies who were recruiting guides at our event. The way it worked was guides uploaded their CVs or resumes in advance via a platform called Campfire, which was built by Mitch Bach, which if you haven't heard about it yet, I'm sure you'll be hearing more about it soon. The tour operators were then able to review the resumes in advance and schedule interviews for the day using the Campfire platform. And we attracted tour operators from New York City, the US, and from around the world. So there were some local associations, local tour operators from Chicago and Texas coming to look for guides, but others as well, and also worldwide guides, worldwide operators as well. So as I said, this proved successful beyond our wildest imagination. We did decide to open it up to tour guides from all around the world. The initial focus was just New York, then expanded to North America. And finally, we decided, hey, this is a good thing. We should share this with anybody who wants to attend. So we attracted 407 total attendees from 15 different countries, which was just absolutely remarkable. And we broke it down by this. There were 70 attendees just from our individual association, from the Guides Association of New York City. We had another 151 from member associations, tourist guide associations from around the world. And then, believe it or not, we attracted 186 other tourist guides who are not affiliated with any local association for various reasons, which gets us up to the total of 407. Now, revenue. We did not set out to make this a revenue-making proposition for our association, but it turned out to be a huge bonus for us. We were able to attract 4 sponsors, and we also had 407 attendees, as I mentioned, who all paid a fee to attend. It was kind of a sliding scale, depending on whether you were organic, an association member, or just a regular tour guide. And because of that, our net revenue to our association was that's net after all the expenses, was approximately $10,000 in USD. And that was very important because I'm sure many of your associations are dealing with the same issues that we are in terms of a decline in our membership due to the COVID outbreak. Some people have left the industry, others can't afford the membership dues. So this was a real bonus for us, for our pocketbooks here at GANIC. And it wasn't our original intent, but it worked out that way. And we are just in the process of planning Guide Week 2022. We're looking sometime in the early March, but nothing official yet. So again, stay tuned for more information for that. And of course, it will be open to all tour guides from all around the world. And then last but not least, I just want to mention quickly an initiative that we have going on right now that's been ongoing for several years, which is the issue of trying to maintain live tourist guides on the top of the double-decker tourist buses. For several years, the double-decker tour companies here in New York, and there are 3 primary ones right now, have been looking to replace live tour guides with recordings. And that's obviously problematic for several different reasons. Number 1, obviously, it takes away jobs from tour guides. Number 2, it takes away from the customer experience. And number 3, it's a huge, huge safety issue here in New York City, especially as people are driving around on double-decker buses with traffic lights right above their heads. So GANIC has been lobbying New York City, the city council, to pass a bill which was introduced all the way back in 2018 called 289A. And that requires that there will be live guides on the tops of New York City double-decker tour buses. Not going to get into the minutia of the legislation, but basically it's being framed primarily as a safety issue not as a jobs issue. And our government relations committee headed by one of our board members, Patrick Casey, has been doing tremendous work in outreaching to our various city council members to try to get this brought to a vote, because it really needs to come to a vote by the end of the calendar year before the new city council comes into place. Otherwise, we will have to start all over again. There have also been some protests against one of the companies, Big Bus, which when they returned to touring, basically got rid of all their tour guides and went to recordings. So I'll just show you a couple of images. These are not being organized by GANIC, but rather we are supporting this. So it's a lot of the tour guides who have been laid off. Some of them are GANIC members, some are not. My understanding is the protests were happening every 2 weeks on the weekends. This is a view of what was happening in Times Square. And then what they've been encouraging is for handing out pamphlets and encouraging people who are taking the double-decker tours to note the lack of live guides in their reviews on TripAdvisor. And here are just a couple of ideas or a couple of examples of that. And then, in fact, a tour guide, the guy who's heading up all of this, James Hoffman, he actually later on the day ran into people who had taken a brochure of his, and he ran into them in Brooklyn a couple of days later, which was pretty cool. And they said, yeah, they took the tour and it was terrible without the live guide. And they promised to write a review online saying how bad it was without live guides. So slowly but surely, we're starting to get attention for this process, and we hope it will continue and we'll get live guides back onto tour buses here in New York City. So that is basically my 10 minutes. I know I went a minute over. I do apologize. I do want to thank you guys for listening and encourage everybody to just stay vigilant. Tourism is coming back. If anybody would like to contact us, our website is ganic.org. I've also posted our social media handles here as well. And as I said at the top, if you have any direct questions, easiest way is to reach out to me at industryrelations@ganic.org. And with that, I thank you guys very much. I will stop the screen share and see if there are any questions or comments.
Michael, thank you very much for your presentation. You've got a different system of timekeeping than I do. I make it 3 minutes over, but that's an achievement in itself. So thank you very much for the presentation. And I'm going to hand over to Tsunami, who has our next presenter all lined up. Thanks again, Michael.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you, James. Well, since we do not have any questions for Michael, we will be moving on to our second presenter. Okay, our second presenter is he is a cultural guide based in Penang and a vice president of the Penang Tour Guides Association. He can speak 6 languages and a history researcher in Malaysia, but spent almost 18 years overseas. He graduated at the New South Wales University, major in economics and sociology. And may I introduce to you a colleague of mine in my area from Southeast Asia. Let's all welcome the Vice President of the Penang Tour Guides Association, Mr. Clement Liang. Clement.
Hi everyone. Hi, Evan. It's 10:20 p.m. our time.
Okay.
Maybe it's 12 hours away from
the screen is
New York.
yours.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. I hope you all can see my screen now. Yeah. Okay. Let me put it full. All right. I'm from Penang Tourist Guide Association in Malaysia. Perhaps if you have not been to Penang or don't know where it is, let me show you the geography of it. Okay. Okay. Penang is located at the northwest of this peninsula, Malaysia. It is one of the 13 states in Malaysia. And it is also the second smallest state in this country. And well, we have a very unique history. This place was founded by the British. Yeah, they came in 1786, and Penang was set up as a trading port and also a British colony, the first one in Southeast Asia. And that's the reason why most of the people here use English, or we speak English like our native language. Yeah. And then talking about the area, we have the island and also a piece of land on the mainland on the peninsula. So all in all, we're about 1,000 square kilometers, pretty small, yeah. Just slightly larger than Singapore in the south. Yeah, but we have very multinational or multi-ethnic population. Population is about 1.8 million people, but it is small compared to the total population in Malaysia, which is about 33 million. Talking about the population, we have quite a mix of East and the West, all kinds of people. When the British founded this place more than 200 years ago, they brought in many immigrants. Yeah. So besides we have the local native, the Malays, we have the Chinese. By the way, I'm ethnic Chinese. We have those workers, with immigrant workers from India, from neighboring Thailand, Indonesia, and we also have small groups from Europe. Yeah, like the British, we have the French missionary. Of course, we have many Christians in this island, and we also have the German traders, Armenians, the Jews also came. So we have more than a dozen ethnic groups in this island, and that makes us also multi-religious. Yeah, we have many temples, churches, mosques. Every street almost is a place that we find festivals a whole year round. Yeah, we have 18 national holidays, and we also have. Um, Actually, we did a survey. We found out we have about 300 celebrations a year, almost like every day. There's one. But unfortunately, not all these holiday, all these celebration end up as a public holiday. Otherwise, we never have to work. All right, and the capital city is called Georgetown. I know there are many Georgetowns in the world, but ours is, I think, the only one in this part of Asia, and it's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site since the year 2008. Yeah, all right, that's the reason why we attract many tourists. Before COVID, we have about 8 million tourists a year visiting this Penang Island. Yeah. All right. So our flag is this. On top is the Malaysian flag, and then you can see this little flag below with like a coconut tree. No, it's not a coconut tree. You call it butternut palm tree. Okay. All right. All right. So talking about this Penang Tourist Guides Association. By the way, we are very new to this World Federation. We were established in 1966, which made us the first Tourist Guides Association formed in Malaysia. I think there are about 22 or 23 tour guide associations in Malaysia now. Yeah. So of course we are a non-profit making NGO. We try to help our members to represent, to promote, or to protect our company interests. Yeah. So what we do mainly nowadays is to conduct trainings for our members. Yeah. And especially for those new tour guides who join our association, we help them to go onto road, yeah, give them the courage, and then also help them to correct whatever things that they need to familiarize themselves with the place and attractions in our country. Yeah. And talk about membership, we have about 600 members now. In fact, it is compulsory for the licensed tour guides in Malaysia to join a licensed or a registered TGA. And of course, Penang as the one state in Malaysia, those who are trained or want to practice tour guiding will have to join our association. But just to let you know that in Malaysia, we have 18,000 licensed tour guides. So 600 is just a small number. All right, and then moving on. Yes, as I mentioned, we do a lot of trainings for our members. Sometimes we also have non-members joining from other places. So we conduct our training. We call it continuing tourism-related education. To be a licensed tour guide in Malaysia, you have to take 3 training courses per year before you are allowed to renew your license. Yeah. So these trainings besides conducted by us, also conducted by other institutes or other TGAs in other states. So we normally conduct these trainings either in the office, and sometimes we also like borrow other places because our old office was quite small. You can see on the top left-hand side, it is how small our training venue that we used to have. Yeah, but we just moved to a new place. I'll show you later. And then, but most of the time, yes, we have to borrow also or rent other bigger venues in the hotels or some lecture halls to conduct these trainings. And the trainings can be on history, geography, on the heritage, on nature, etc. Yeah, as long as it's related to Penang or Malaysia, then we like these tour guides to learn more. Yeah, and recently, yes, we have to do a lot online because as we all are facing now the pandemic of COVID-19, the many lockdowns, and later I tell you how bad we are now. So how are we doing? Yeah, okay. Yes, besides the indoor, we also conduct outdoor excursions to within Malaysia. Like we travel all the way to Borneo Island. We also went up to Thailand. It's more like fun get together while learning and also have some exchange with the local TGAs. Yeah, right. And then yes, well, learning is not everything. Yeah, it's too much of breeding make you a dull boy. So we have more social activities for our members. Uh, we normally have annual dinners. Yes, we love that. Sometimes we put on special costumes or we have special themes and try to have fun together. Yeah, and then we also conduct those free tour guidings for our locals. So, for example, during the uh, in fact the World Tourism Day, we conduct this night walk in Georgetown because it's a very interesting place at night, and you see how many locals join us for the fun. And not forget, we also do a lot of CSR, and especially recently with a lot of people, they really need help. So we try to raise fund and then buy those food or anything to help those needy people. Yeah. And then, yes, talking about the exciting thing, we just moved to our new office. You can see on the top left side, this is our old building, old office, and we just moved last year to a new, actually, it's a shop lot in a new, brand new, how to say that? No, it's a shopping mall. Okay, it's air conditioned all the time. And then we expanded our training facility to about 2,000 square feet or about 200 square meters if we use that. But we use a lot of British kind of metrics. So we now have a big training hall, we have a conference room, and also a lounge area for our members to relax. Yeah. And then, yes, we did our first training there. And unfortunately, 1 week later, we faced the lockdown. The pandemic was very bad, and even now. So that is what we are trying to figure out what to do next. And then, yes, COVID-19 is a big impact on us. We lost our income because we have to generate this revenue to cover our expenses through the training. But unfortunately, we have to reduce it. Like this year, we barely do only 2 trainings. Yeah, and of course, our tour guides all suffer. There are no tourists coming in. Yeah, from 8 million tourists a year in 2019, I think it hardly any tourists coming in at all. Yeah, so we have members in distress, and unfortunately, there were suicide cases, and also some members died from COVID-19. They were very sad. Yeah, so we try to help and make them motivated. So we, of course, why we did the charity things to help the poorer people is to motivate our members that even though we look so bad now, there are people worse than us. So let's care about others And just don't lock yourself, just stay alone, yeah? Don't suffer alone. And then we also have a lot of online activities. Okay, we also have one training online, but a lot of time we have a like chit-chat session online. Wherever free, we make a time to meet up online and we share. Of course, a lot of grievances, but we say no, just think more positive, okay? Keep living, yeah? There will be light at the end of the tunnel. We'll keep telling them. And we also apply government loan, the aids, the money. The money came in after we lobby very hard, and we get 1,000 local currency, we call it ringgit, to help us to tie through. And also, yes, we keep putting the pressure on the government. We need more aid from them. And then we also keep we are telling the members what's happening. Tourism, we are going to open up. Yeah, so now we have started to open up in an island in the north of Penang called Langkawi Island, which just started 2 weeks ago. It was a great success. So I think very soon, when most of the population in Malaysia get vaccinated, it's hitting 88% now. Yeah, so once it hit 90%, the government promised that we'll be more relaxed. Of course, we have to take care of all these SOP things. So we are looking forward to the reopening of tourism in our country, and also to welcome tourists maybe from our neighboring countries first. Yeah. So we also conduct virtual tours. This is something that new to us. We are still not good in that, but we are trying. Yeah. So we just conducted one last week on the 26th.
Yeah. I've got to tell you, we've overshot by 3 minutes.
Okay. Okay. So this is what we did, and then yeah. So that's all. Yes. Okay. We are struggling, but we will go through this. So this is the last picture that I show you. This is Georgetown. You can see we have a Chinese temple and also the mosque, and people living in harmony. It's a unique place, and hope one day you'll come to visit us, or we'll go to visit you too. All right. Any questions? I'll be love to answer that.
Thank you very much, Clement. Any questions?
Yes. We can deal with by email, because right now we're running 4 minutes late. That's what happens when you appoint somebody who's English and half Swiss as the timekeeper. So I'd like to introduce our next person, if you please. We have Ava waiting for us from...
Take it back, James.
Okay. So welcome to Ava. Pleased to meet you, Ava. And I'd like to introduce her from the Federation of Tourist Guides in Hungary. And Ava has been working for the last 10 years as a tourist guide. So thank you very much for taking your time and your effort today to come up. And unfortunately, I'm the horrible timekeeper as well. But pleased to meet you, Ava. You are still muted.
And can you hear me now? It's okay?
Yes, we got you.
Okay, thank you. So if you hear me, then it's very, very good. I am very happy about that. And welcome to you. And I am really very happy to be with you this afternoon now. Both presentations were really very interesting and very professional. We are a small country here in Hungary, and I think we still need to be even more professional, but we are trying to do our best. Now I try to share my screen. I prepared also a presentation. Yeah, this is that one. I hope, okay. And now, after, okay. No.
Oh, we've got you.
I would like to start at the beginning. Can you see now the presentation?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah, okay, everybody can see. Then
Eva, can you click in the lower right corner to make the... Yeah, that's good. Perfect.
Yes. I put it before that, but it did not succeed, but it, okay, I repeated it. Now, my starting point for this presentation is that last year we had already such a serial of presentations, and I introduced Hungary and our city at that time. It was the 25th of November 2020. So I would like now just to go on with the different activities and what happened since then. You know, so this is a small reminding or how to say, some basic information about our association, like this one. Yes, this is the first one. So some general information. So we have a lot of knowledge within our association. We have approximately 200 members. And we have also a great expertise during the 30 years since we are existing. And we maintain also a lot of partnerships. Our aims is that in the society we should be more recognized professionally. Our profession should be recognized more than it is now. And a fair remuneration and returning guests. So we would like that guests like our country and will return in the future sometimes. And we are having connections to the Hungarian Tourism Agency, governmental bodies, municipality, and other organizations of tourism. We also carry on training programs, study tours to upgrade our knowledge. We get several times different invitations, and then we are visiting these new restaurants, wine stores, exhibitions, etc. And of course, we are providing also tourist guiding service as well. So if somebody would like to have a tourist guide, then we are passing on the jobs to our members. Our members can carry on tourist guiding activities in 30 languages. Okay, now, but COVID hit us also very much. And in the last year presentation, I spoke a lot about our struggles. We carried on really a lot of struggle. We wrote letters to all governmental, to ministries and other governmental bodies to get some support from the state to the tourist guides, because they remained here without any work. So it was a very, very hard time last year. And this year, however, we could achieve some little things for supporting the tourist guides in Hungary. So what happened this year? Fortunately, the vaccination was quite sufficient. So by now we have a vaccination in Hungary over 60%, almost 70% now. Many people got even the third vaccination after the 2 vaccinations. So the COVID was forced back by May this year. In June, by the end of June, a total opening happened in our country. So no masks in buses and in other things, in shops, etc. We can go to restaurants, museums, sport facilities, meetings without any restrictions. And even the bigger meetings were possible to hold. And therefore, some important events took place also in Budapest. Like there was the European Championship, and some of these matches could be held in Budapest. And then the biggest event of the last few years was the Eucharistical Congress. Yes, we heard before from Malaysia, from Clement Liang, that this is a very Catholic country. Similar, also Hungary is a very Catholic country. And so this was a very, very great event for us, and a great opportunity to have organized the Eucharistical Congress in Budapest. And I can tell you that at the opening and at the closing mass participated more than 100,000 people. Of course, we cannot say that from all over the world, because first of all, from the neighboring countries, participants were coming, and also some priests who gave lessons or made presentations. They were coming from Africa, from South America, and from some Asian countries as well. And this was also an opportunity for tour guides as well. We could have some tourist guiding activities during this year, not so many, I must tell you, but it was something more than nothing. Okay, and then there is the World Exhibition on Hunting and Nature, also in Budapest. It can be visited also without any restrictions. And many festivals like Wine Festival in Budapest and throughout the whole country. And our country is open to visitors and without any restrictions. So by August, September, more and more visitors are coming to Budapest right now from most of the European countries and also from the US. Unfortunately, not yet we have met tourists from Asia, so probably this is not yet possible. I don't know. We just hope that in the future also our Asian guests can return to our country. So some support could be achieved finally after such a big struggle. Small businesses could suspend some small businesses, tourist guides with small businesses, those who not suspended their business could have 2 months exemption from tax payment. It was in April and May. Yeah, not that, because many tour guides had to suspend their business. If there is no work, then it's no use to keep on the business. So many of us suspended it, but those who not could have these 2 months exemptions. And then finally in August, 625 euros support from the state was available and is still available only at one occasion for small businesses. Okay, and I think the most achievement during these 2 years is that finally we could raise awareness in the society and towards the politicians as well. For example, when it was announced these 2 kinds of supports, while listing the beneficiaries, tourist guides were mentioned on the first place. So I think this is a good sign. It is not a very big achievement, but still it's a good sign that finally the politicians are also counting on us and taking us also into consideration. So thanks to our struggles, many reports in the media. We gave a lot of reports in the media. There were and there were also demonstrations, but I have been speaking about that in my first presentation, so I don't want to repeat it now.
I've got to give you a minute's warning. Please.
Okay. So raise awareness. Okay. Now, and the most activity which was carried out to formulating the text of the draft bill on tourist guides in Hungary. So we worked on that in June, July, and August. There were meetings, discussions in person and online, and finalization happened after the General Assembly of our organization on the 28th of August. And we have submitted the draft to the tourist agency in September, and we are waiting now for the reply, and we hope on a meeting with them. So we had a lot of presentations within each other. So our members gave presentations with Zoom and on different topics. And the walking tours were held in Budapest also in areas which are less visited by the tourists or not at all visited by the tourists, but these are really very nice places in Budapest, so we can offer these places to visitors. So, and that's all. Thank you for your kind attention. And yes, you can find us among the members of WFTGA, but if you like, I can also put our email address and our telephone number as well, if you like. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Eva. I feel sorry to keep cutting people off. Could I ask the presenters a big favor? Could you keep your eye on the chat, because I'm sending messages, and when you're coming up towards the end of your time, you will get a notice from me saying 2 minutes, 1 minute, sort of thing. It would make things run. We started early and then we've been overrunning since then. So all cooperation would be wonderful. Please watch the chat, and the chat's all important. Thank you very much, Eva. So
James, excuse me, but when you have share screen, you can't see the chat.
Okay, if you send me your WhatsApp number, I'll put my WhatsApp number for everybody, then I will send you a message. How about that? And as long as Mark Zuckerberg hasn't misbehaved, then it should work. I've got 2 screens, so it always shows. But that's my WhatsApp number. If you WhatsApp me, then I can send you warnings by WhatsApp. Thank you. I'm handing over to Tsunami.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Eva from Hungary. Moving forward, I would like to introduce our fourth speaker. Our fourth speaker is Ms. Shana Koran. Did I pronounce it right?
No.
Oh.
That's okay. It's Hana.
Okay.
Hana.
Oh, okay. Shana Koran from the incoming Tourism Association in Israel. Wow, Israel. I've been there 2 years ago. It's fabulous. I met all the guides there. It's like a walking Bible study every day.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I'm giving you the screen now. You have 10 minutes. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Hana. This should come out 1 second. My name is Hana Koren, and I'm representing Moreshet Derech, which is the Incoming Tour Guides Association here in Israel. We have 2 tour guides associations. The one specializes more in domestic tourism. And I'm going to give you a little bit of information about what's going on here and with our association itself. First of all, a few pictures. Those of you who've never been here. Here on the top left is Caesarea, which was built by Herod 2,000 years ago. Here on the right, you can see a dolphin swimming in the Red Sea in Eilat. This is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the holiest site to Christianity. And this is the Dome of the Rock, under which is the stone that, according to Jewish tradition, Abraham went to sacrifice Isaac. And according to the Muslims, Muhammad flew up into heaven on his horse. What we have here is, as I mentioned, is Moreshet Derech is association representing tour guides in incoming tourism sector throughout Israel. Our goals are to provide assistance, information, and further educational courses in the field and classroom. What is interesting, or what is necessary here in Israel, is that we must do further education courses 1 time per year, not like in who mentioned before they had 4 in 1 year. We have to do 1 a year. And over the course of COVID, we have the requirement still of doing the course. And initially they were virtually, now we can go out in the field. It's much easier now. And some people do more than 1 just because we don't have any work at this particular moment. Moreshet Derech has almost 1,400 members with 14 languages being represented. And many of the guys have advanced degrees in history, archaeology, botany, religious studies, hydrology, geology, all kinds of different type of degrees. And all the council members are volunteers. We work many hours per week. Right now, many of our guides are not working at all. Some have found alternative jobs in the meantime, or gone back to their original professions. We have a lot of guides that are over 60 and are actually pension age. And the government did give us some assistance, which ended on July 1st. Some people are still eligible for a little bit more of unemployment until the end of December. And that's sort of keeping us through. But as someone mentioned earlier, there have been suicides. There's a lot of people that have a lot of health issues, mental health issues. It's not a good situation. On the other hand, Israel is allowing tourists to leave the country. People leave the country. So we are fighting really hard in our Knesset, our parliament, to allow tourists to come in here. Now, there are tourists who are coming, but there are restrictions. I'll get to that in a second. Sorry, it's not in the order I thought it was in. Moreshet Derech continues to provide assistance in writing programs for the government to allow tourism to continue. And we did help write several programs that allow guides to guide in our national parks. And the national parks in Israel are not necessarily nature. There is nature also, but like I showed you before, Caesarea is also a national park. It's got archaeology in it. So now there's a special program that Moreshet Derech helped push that allows guides to bring groups, self-made groups of local tourism to the parks. We are not allowed to collect any money. We're not allowed to provide any transportation. Israel's not a big country, so unless you're going to Eilat, it's not very far to go anyplace. And to drive someplace, be in the park, get a tour for however long you want. The Park Association is not taking money, entrance fees, but will pay the guide. So in essence, they are paying the guide to work and not receiving anything in advance. They're not paying any entrance fees. We offer also further education classes to renew our license. As I mentioned before, we have to have one course per year. And we also offer other further education courses just for the interest. You know, people ask for a certain thing. Can you cover a water supply in Caesarea? We could have that type of educational course. Here we provide bus service. It's for a fee. A lot of guides now don't really have income now that we are no longer getting any kind of federal assistance. Are finding it difficult sometimes to go to these courses, but if you only have to do one, it only comes out to maybe $50 for the whole year. We are also helping guides that have fallen into dire straits, and there are many guides like that that are they're eating away their savings and have no more. It's not such a good situation. We have 1 second. Why isn't it moving? Sorry. Okay. We've accomplished in this past year, we've assisted approximately 1,750 tour guides, not necessarily tour guides in our association. We help any guide that requires assistance in receiving the compensation. The government had made a program where we could receive grants according to how much your income has gone down. Now, this wasn't only for tour guides, it was for anyone who was hurt by COVID. And a lot of it had to do just with the tourist industry. And they gave us, your income had to have gone down by 40%. Of course, tour guides' income went down to 0%. We had to prove that it was zero by showing our tax returns, and it was zero. So people got a certain amount of money dependent upon how much they earned in 2019. And 2019 was the best year ever in Israel. We had nearly 5 million tourists come into the country. You have to understand that Israel only has 9.5 million people living here. It's a small country. When we have tourists, we're complaining about the traffic and how many people, and it's crowded and this and that. But on the other hand, it brings in over 35% of our income is from tourism. And right now, there is no tourism. A lot of the hotels are still closed. Restaurants went out of business. Souvenir shops have stopped functioning. The people who take the taxis up to Mount Tabor to the Church of the Transfiguration haven't worked for 1.5 years. But I just heard today that they have gone back to work about 2 weeks ago for some locals. They work a little bit here and there. For instance, Moshe Dech has raised money for about the equivalent of about $15,000 to assist guides in need. We give out food coupons and we give out food baskets and help here and there, also free psychological counseling. And we've also convinced the Ministry of Tourism for this year not to have to pay the licensing fees, because licensing fees were not working. The status of tourism in August, we'll say in 2019, as you can see, this was just in 1 month, 205,000 tourists. August is not necessarily the largest tourist month. Actually, May and November are higher months. 2020, we had 20,000, and this year we've had 53,000. There's a zero missing, sorry about that. And these tourists in 2020 include first-degree family members, mother, father, son, or daughter. That's it. Today, in the last month or so, we're allowing organized groups to come between 50 and 30 people, and they have to come through authorized Israeli agents who have given a bond so that people will follow the rules. Coming to Israel, you have to have 3 vaccinations, and you have to make a PCR test before you come here, do an antigen test. When you get here, you have to do another one while you're here, and when you leave, you have to come. Be in the same group, stay in the hotel, stay in the same itinerary the entire time, and leave together. Those are the rules right now. Hopefully in November, they'll open up to individual tourists also for FIT.
Anna, you have 1 minute.
Okay.
You have 1 minute.
Okay. We're hoping that people will be allowed to come in. That's the slide that I just mentioned. We're working with other members of tourism for more government compensation and allowing guides to work in other fields until we can get back into the tourism field. And although Israel is a very small country, we have a very large population of tourists that want to come and visit the Holy Land. And hopefully whoever hasn't been here will come at some point in the near future. And looking forward to seeing everybody coming back and visiting us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kana. Did I get it right, Kana?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to close the share.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm included on that 2019 statistics.
Okay.
Now I'm giving the screen to James for our next speaker. Thank you very much, Kana, for sharing.
Hello. I don't think Danny has made it in. Doesn't look like it. As Danny hasn't made it in, I would ask, I can see on my side there that we still have a few of the presenters here. Could I ask the audience, does anybody have a question for any of our presenters? You know, we've got a reasonable audience here. We've got quite a number of people. If you want to put it into the chat, I can ask the person directly if you want. We've got them here. We've got a world of knowledge from a number of places. I think that's it. We are without. So what we have to do now is say a very, very big thank you to all our presenters. It was very kind of you to give up your time, to give up your expertise, and it does take a while to make these presentations. I'd like to remind everybody that this is only part 1 of 3. So if on the 12th of October, you wish to do some more of this, starting, all times are Austrian times. At 13:30, we have a start, and we have a number of countries coming up. We have people from, it looks like Thailand, we've got from National Federation of Tourist Guide Associations, you got me, we've got another association in Hungary, we've got Quebec City, we've got Moscow, we've got Scotland. So please mark your calendars. That's another good selection. And also on the 15th of October at 0900 hours in, again, Austrian time, we have Slovenia, we have Azerbaijan, we have another Malaysian association, we have got Greece, we have Ireland, and we have Italy. So well worth doing, a good spread from all over the world. I'd like to also take a moment to thank my fellow facilitator, Tsunami. I'd like to thank Sebastian on the back for putting all this together. And of course, a big thank you to Alushka for taking time out of her day on organizing all these associations. Again, please look at our website. A lot has been done by Sebastian, and there's a lot of good information. And then hope to see some of you in Novi Sad. Thank you. Tsunami.
Well, thank you very much, James. We would like to thank our presenters who have shared their experiences, their knowledge, and their tour guide association with us. We do hope that we will be enticing more associations to come to the Federation. And we are looking forward to seeing real live guides again in the streets, in the parks, and walking around and guiding real live tourists. So all I have to say is to always stay safe, be mighty, and let's not remove that character trait of being resilient. We will be rising again. Do not worry. It will come. So that's it, James. I think it's time for, Alushka.
And again, please look at your chat, because we've also got various things. We've got people who shared email addresses and so on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Owen. Thank you, James. Thank you to the viewers, and thank you to the presenters. And we look forward to part 2. Stay safe, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.